Dave Dahl, creator of Dave's Killer Bread, a well-known, against-the-odds success story. To give back, we built a podcast studio called TalkCast PDX, a state-of-the-art facility to produce your own podcast. TalkCast PDX is a place where every opinion is accepted. If you've ever thought about it, do it. Use your voice and make a difference at TalkCast PDX.
A talk show that cuts to the truth, no matter how painful it might be, and no BS. Citizen Smith, Citizen Smith, Citizen Smith.
Here is a man who would not take it anymore. A man who stood up against the scum, the dogs, the filth. Here is someone who stood up.
It's time for Citizen Smith.
And it is time for Citizen Smith here on TalkCastPDX.com, as you saw in this promo we ran, which was well produced and reflective of what we're doing here. We are a state-of-the-art studio in the great city of Portland, Oregon, producing talk shows and podcasts. Soon we will get to the call-in format that I strive for here so that we can take phone calls, but we're not there yet. We're being patient. In the meantime, you can chat. We are live, 9 a.m. Pacific time here at Citizen Smith every day, Monday through Friday. And we do live programming throughout the week here at TalkCast PDX. Coming up after my show, you will have the Bogdanich Perspective, a financial show that covers issues even beyond the numbers, with Paul Bogdanich. Right now, let's talk Olympics. Look, I'm doing my best to try to stay on top of all the activities and events going on in venues. From the triathlon to the gymnastics, the swimming. But I'm missing events, and it's really bugging me. I hate it when I miss, I'm watching the preliminaries, the qualifiers, and then the final takes place in the swimming, for example, last night, and I missed a couple of them. And one of them... You missed it? All right, listen to what happened, okay? I'm going to tell you my plight. I'm in an apartment complex that has these great TV rooms, right? There's two of them, one on one floor and one on the other. So I'm watching it on the 6th floor, which is the top floor, and I'm pausing so that I can speed through some of the commercials because they're inundating us with commercials on the Olympics.
They gotta pay for this thing somehow.
Dude, they are playing so many commercials. I could not watch the volleyball last night. After the U.S. beat China in the first round.
The indoor volleyball, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched it, and then the second one was coming, and there were so many commercials. It aggravated me to the point, and I just couldn't watch it anymore. I just was not going to sit for 2 hours watching commercials in volleyball because they're recorded.
Yeah.
So they can place their ads anywhere they want, and they are placing a lot of ads. NBC, I think they're overdoing it. You got to cut it back, people. You're interfering with my ability to watch. I don't want to see the same damn ads over and over again, no matter how good they are. So here's my plight. I pause the thing, and then I go to the bathroom, grab a beer, some snacks, make some popcorn, and I'm watching the swimming, and the finals are coming up. All right, I'm gonna go grab a beer. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. I go down to my 5th floor. I take the elevator back up, and I'm all ready for the finals coming up in the swimming. With the women. 3 women were sitting in the room. They found their way in there when I was away for 5 minutes, and they went to Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, my God. Pat Sajak.
I had 20 minutes of delayed programming that just got erased, and I missed the swimming events of two finals. One of them was the young gal from Seward.
Seward, yes.
Who
Lydia
won?
Jacoby.
17 years old from Seward, Alaska. And I missed it.
That place went nuts.
That was the one I wanted to watch.
They had the camera on Seward, and that place went nuts.
The 100-meter breaststroke she won, Lily King. Lydia Jacoby. 17 years old. Stunning the gold medalist Lily King to win the breaststroke, and I missed it.
And you know what was crazy was afterwards, when they do the little interview, they come out of the pool and they do the little interview. What's her name? The other gal, the past champion?
Yeah.
Was
Lydia King.
Lydia King was trying to get in on the interview. And they're like pushing her aside, like, you go over here. We want to talk to her, to Jacoby. Just get out of the way. I was like, wow, she tried to get in there and poach on that interview.
The thing is, I missed it. And I really wanted to watch that one. I was so pissed. My friend Patty in Alaska sent me the text. She won. I'm like, what? I missed that? I have a connection to Seward. I did the play-by-play of the Seward girls and boys high school basketball one season in 2000. So I have a little connection with Seward. And I for this young lady to come out of that little town and win a gold medal is one of the stunners, if not the most stunning victory in this Olympics.
I agree.
I didn't know who she was before the Olympics. Suddenly she's a gold medal. I saw her on the podium. And she looked stunned, like she was overwhelmed. She didn't know what to do. She was like beside herself. They had to wear the masks on the podium. They can take the masks off on the podium.
They get to take them off for the picture.
They can't take them off during the national anthem?
It's really dumb.
Boy, these Japanese are strict. The Olympic Committee. Let the athletes take, they're standing 6 feet apart, 10 feet apart, and let them hear the national anthem without the mask on. God's sakes. Anyway, that's why I missed that. What happened with the Chinese and the U.S.? Did the U.S. win that? I bailed out.
Oh, the indoor volleyball? Yeah. U.S. won.
Yes. Yes. But these are preliminary. It's still not the finals. They could meet again in the finals, which they likely will.
It was quite the battle, too.
Yeah, it was a hell of a game. Hell of a match. Really love that volleyball. Those girls, 6'4", they're pounding that ball. Fantastic. And then I missed the gymnastics team overalls. I missed that last night. How did I miss that?
Where the hell were you?
I was going all over the place. I don't know where I missed. When did they air that? How did I miss it? Boy, is that frustrating. I love that stuff. And then the big story coming out, first of all, the U.S. team came in second place to win the silver medal, which was an upset, and the ROC, also known as the Russia squad, won the gold medal, and I missed it. The Russians finished more than 3 points ahead of the U.S. and Britain. Britain won the bronze medal. But the big story coming out, Simone Biles withdrew from the competition. And she said she pulled out of the event because she wasn't in the right place mentally to perform the difficult and often dangerous skills she is known for. I'm reading this from the New York Times coverage. After feeling so much pressure to be successful. She said she was struggling with stress of being the greatest gymnast in history. And outside expectations were just too hard to combat.
Well, I guess that nixed the all-time greatest then.
What?
You got to have that mental fortitude. You got to have the mental fortitude.
When I was watching her in the team qualifying when they were picking the ones that she looked freaked out. Did you notice her visual in her face?
I did not.
She looked very stressed, like she was tense. And I was like, wow, why does she look so worried? I just don't understand that one. That's a head scratcher. I can't believe this is her second go-round. You would think that she's even more mentally strong on the second Olympics she's in. Was it an injury? Maybe she's using the mental as an excuse, but physically she had it.
I don't know.
Very suspicious, don't you? That is really, I don't understand. You had Naomi Osaka pull out of Wimbledon. right? Because of mental stress.
Yeah, it's the new thing.
Is that the new thing all of a sudden?
I think mental would be part of being an athlete. I just would think
Yeah.
that.
When did this start becoming a real? I don't know, man. I gotta wonder about this. So what about the individual performances? Is Simone going to be in that, right?
I don't know.
She's supposed to be the top one in all of them, in every event. So to be continued. We got to watch this today. I got to get on the TV and follow this very closely. This story, because I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm totally out of the loop right now with her issue. It's going to be the big talk today, all day long. So yeah, now I'm wondering. Okay, she pulled out of the team event. I hope she's still doing the individual. She's got to be. Maybe so. She does that very dangerous one with the springboard there, and
She gets kind of
the
crazy.
vault,
It's
and
crazy.
it's a double flip that I don't even know how she does this stuff. I worry every time she does it. You could break your neck, with these risky, over the top, high level skills that nobody has attempted. When you stop pushing yourself and then people are expecting it, it's a fear factor maybe at that point. What if I miss it?
One of the quotes she said is, I felt like it would be better to take a back seat. I didn't want to risk the team a medal because they worked way too hard for my screw-ups. Being awfully hard on herself.
Well, this was it. I mean, 4 years for this moment and then bailing out. I don't know, man. That doesn't make sense at all. That's what these athletes live for. All right, well, there you have it for that. And speaking of Naomi, I don't know, she's having another meltdown again because she also lost.
Who's this?
This is the tennis superstar. Japan's representative, lives in America but represents Japan. Naomi Osaka she left the court after losing in straight sets to Marketa Vondrousova of Czech Republic.
Hey, good job there.
And beats the hell out of me if I get it right.
How many letters in that word?
And so, she's having some mental issues too. I mean, first she withdraws from Wimbledon, then she's on the Olympics, and then she's out in the first round, and something's going on there too with that young girl. She lost 6-1, 6-4 to Marketa Vondrousova of Czech Republic. Ranked number 42 in the world. Osaka ranked number 2. Out. So some of the ladies having some mental breakdowns. Collapsing under the pressure. Welcome to the new world of athletes. A lot of money's riding on their performances too, which adds to the pressure. Don't kid yourself. When you have millions of dollars in sponsorship riding on these performances, you tell me if that doesn't add pressure. These dollars weren't there, 10 years, 15 years ago, right? This money is a new influx of riches, of athletes. I was watching the men's beach volleyball, and one guy was, he had a wife and 2 kids or something, they said, and they make money. A lot of money, beach volleyball.
Yeah, there's like a pro beach volleyball tour and all that stuff.
So you think they're amateurs, but they're actually making a lot of money on in the sport outside of the Olympics, and the Olympic performance is what catapults them for sponsorship and name recognition. Yeah, you put all that on the line, and people like Naomi Osaka, 23 years of age, suddenly feeling the pressure of having to pay for the house that they bought for $10 million. The family's relying on them for revenue and income, and they got pressures beyond the sport. And I'm telling you, it's taking a toll on them. These are young kids, 21, 23. I don't know what I'd be like if I had all that money. I got to perform well, and I got to win this, or else the family's not going to get that house I promised them in Florida. And that's happening.
Little Billy ain't going to get the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip.
You know, Naomi's a budding fashion icon. Appeared on the cover of Vogue and Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. Japanese mother, Haitian father. Largely raised in the United States. Taking on social issues and all this stuff. All these things outside of the sport combined to put pressure that they can't handle. That's what's going on. That's my hypothesis and observation. So any other surprises in the Olympics that you saw that I maybe didn't, or you were aware of, Justin?
Not really.
Anything I missed last night that I didn't mention? We had the triathletes.
No.
I watched the girls, the ladies on the triathlon. That was interesting.
I find that exhausting.
I just what they put themselves through. At the start, I like the start of the triathlon. The guy that was operating the boat in front of the starters before they jumped in the bay, Tokyo Bay, he was in the way of the starters, and they fired the horn to jump in the water, and the boat was in the way of half the swimmers. They had to do a restart, and the boat had to get the hell out of the way. He's like, wait a second, where's the reverse on this thing?
Hey. Oh, you're starting? Okay.
And then the announcer says, didn't the starter see the boat was in front of the swimmers?
Oh, boy.
Funny stuff. All righty. Well, I will continue to watch today and hopefully don't miss some of the big events like I did yesterday.
Do we know what's on the schedule for later, or do you not?
There's too much. Justin, it's overwhelming. I'm playing it by ear.
It is.
Because first of all, you've got delays.
Yeah.
So their schedules are all over the place. If it was live, you know exactly where everything is. But NBC's broadcasting for prime time on delayed broadcasts and recordings, and they're shifting things around to accommodate the prime time audience for the better events so that their advertisers get higher exposure.
I was just looking through some of the featured events. Softball, Japan versus United States.
They played already.
Yeah, this says Japan won 2-0.
Yeah.
And then surfing, Craig Moore, he won. Diving, synchronized, that's going on. Oh my!
I was watching a little bit of that last night, and the Brits upset China.
That was awesome. It was so awesome.
Anytime we can beat China, I'm all for it, especially in the diving because they always dominate.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was a great. And again, I missed most of it and caught like the ending when they were replaying some of the highlights. I was watching it at the beginning, then I moved away from it and started watching something else. I came back, it was over.
I watched fencing, a little bit of that last night.
The Koreans, South Koreans took it to the U.S.
Oh, yeah,
the team won that. We were very underperforming in that, but South Korea, a very good fencing team.
And then United States, Australia, women's soccer, they had a draw.
Oh,
there was lots going on.
I was watching. You know what I was watching? The U.S. rugby team is looking good. That was some kick-ass rugby there. And by the way, they got the Fiji team that just those guys are like monsters. They won the World Championship. They're Fiji's like dominant force in rugby.
Crazy.
They're big-ass guys, too.
I did watch a little bit of the shooting. Did you watch any of the shooting yesterday?
I missed the shooting. I caught just a glimpse of it.
China versus the United States. I was kind of bummed. China won 17-13, but hopefully we can bounce back somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Well, there's your highlights and talk today of the Olympics. Since we're on sports, I just want to bring up this thing about the NFL and vaccinations, because I'm a little surprised to read this, honestly.
NFL.
So the NFL is, getting ready for their regular season practices for this, when they kick in and really go full boat with their practicing before the season kicks off in September. But unvaccinated players are still a concern. And there's a lot of players that are saying, I'm not getting vaccinated. Like this quote. It's from Arizona Cardinals wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. He said, quote, "Never thought I would say this, but being put in a position to hurt my team because I don't want to take part in the vaccine is making me question my future in the NFL." Why is he opposed to the vaccination? What is he worried about? Side effects? And in another Twitter post later deleted by its author, Tampa Bay Buccaneers running back Leonard Fournette wrote, "Vaccine, I can't do it." I'm shocked. NFL players are saying they don't want to get vaccinated when they can see what's going on in the country and the world with this Delta variant killing people. So if you're an NFL player, if you're unvaccinated, you face a lot of restrictions, including daily testing, capacity limitations in the weight room, and a requirement to travel on a separate plane from your teammates. I'm surprised that the NFL isn't mandating vaccines. Wouldn't they be in a position to do that? But the players' union objects to it, I guess. But if I'm an NFL commissioner, I say mandate vaccination or you don't play. That's too much contact, breathing in each other's faces. If you're a lineman, you're breathing in the face of the other lineman. When you get tackled, you're breathing on everybody. You have to be vaccinated to play football in this environment.
Not to mention the spitting and all the sweating and grossness that's going
Yeah.
on. You know, it's all happening.
So what I'm just shocked at is that, A, there's still players saying they don't even want to get vaccinated. B, that it's not a mandate. You would think the restrictions, they can also lose money. So if they can't play because of the COVID, they lose money not playing. So there's got to be some serious paranoia amongst the players that they're going to have side effects with their beautiful physical bodies that, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Who said NFL players are the brightest bulbs in the world?
Hey, today's Tuesday. You know what that means, right?
No.
It's Taco Tuesday.
Oh.
Taco Tuesday. Do you have a favorite taco place in town yet?
No, I do not. And Portland has got
No.
great taco places.
Everywhere.
But I'm not a big taco fan. We went to one of the chains the other night for a late night burrito.
A chain?
Yeah, I forget which one we went to.
Was it like fast food?
Yeah.
Ugh. Don't tell me that.
I thoroughly enjoyed it at
Did
midnight.
you run for the border? Taco Bell?
I felt it the next morning, but my buddy it's like, hey, let's get some Mexican food. And there was a line of cars at like midnight on Saturday. Like line of cars waiting to get late night Mexican food.
I wish I knew which one you went to.
I can't remember. Maybe it was Taco Bell. I don't know.
Oh, good.
But you know what? I never enjoyed a burrito. Actually, I ordered the quesadilla, and he ordered the burrito. But when I was grabbing it out of the bag, I grabbed the burrito and ate his burrito. And he got home, and he texted me at like 12:30. Dude, you ate my burrito. Hey, I thought
my burrito.
I was wondering what that flat thing was afterwards. That was my chicken quesadilla.
I like Rammy's tacos. It's just down the street, not too far from where we're at here, next to Ranella Produce. And they do great tacos, tortas. Their tortas are amazing, but there are so many places. I'd like to know people's favorite taco places. That's what I'd like to know.
Well, what's your favorite place in Portland, Oregon?
In Portland, I think it's Rammy's. I think that's, so far, I've had the best taco there down the street near Ranella Produce. I'll say it again. I think it's great. But the best tacos I've had in town are out in Hillsboro. This great little taco stand called Jalisco. It's just so good. So good.
All right. Well, one of these days you're going to take me to your favorite place.
Oh, Taco Tuesday.
I will profile it on Tasty Good, PDX,
there
a
you
foodies podcast I produce here at Talkcast
Oh, that's
PDX.
right. That's right.
I've yet to profile the best taco in Portland. You will be my guide.
I will do my best. I will be your guide taco dog. I will lead you around to the best tacos.
Tacos. I haven't had a tacos in a long time.
Taco Tuesday. I'll get you some today.
You know what? It's a plan, Stan.
Okay.
All right. Speaking of food, I wanted to go out as part of my research in Portland to find the best oysters in the city. I had a wonderful set of oysters. It was from Washington State, and I don't remember the ones, but it was at a seafood restaurant downtown that's quite popular, but I forget the name of it now. But
Probably Minterbrook.
no, it has a big salmon on the outside, the sign.
Salmon.
Anyway, it was a great oysters. They were just silky little delicious things, and I was like, wow, I can't wait to try the rest of the oysters in the city, but I'm not going to till probably fall, because there's a official state health from Washington State especially to be careful of eating oysters because of the warm temperatures are creating poisonous oysters from a disease that they get. And so they're saying locally harvested raw oysters and other shellfish, be careful because there's an outbreak of an intestinal disease caused by bacteria that multiplies rapidly after this recent heat dome that baked the Pacific Northwest. And now we have another heat wave this week. We're getting into the 90s. And they're saying these heat waves are causing the oysters to develop this disease that sickened at least 52 people this past month. The most ever recorded in July. The disease, which usually lasts between 4 hours and 4 days, causes diarrhea, abdominal cramps, nausea, vomiting, headache, fever, and chills. In other words, food poisoning. And if you've ever had food poisoning, and I think we all have at one time or another, it's the worst experience in the world. You feel like you're dying, which you
Pretty
are.
bad. It's pretty
You
bad.
are essentially dying. Your body's fighting to stay alive. So they're saying cook all your shellfish and especially avoid raw oysters because they could be contaminated with this Vibrio bacteria that is found naturally in coastal waters, but is more prevalent in the heated times when the water's heating up. And they're calling this the heat dome effect now, enveloping the Pacific Northwest, shattering records across the region. And this quote, it was a perfect storm of these super low tides we've been having this month and the high heat, said Teresa McCallion, a spokeswoman for the Washington State Department of Health. And this is from an article I'm reading, of course, in the New York Times, July 24th. So that's where we're at. Quote, we're recommending if you don't want to get sick, don't eat raw oysters, said McCallion. Cook them, but make sure they're fully cooked. And Vibrio is found naturally in coastal waters, but it's becoming more severe, and that makes these shellfish more poisonous. And when temperatures go back down, they say, Vibrios is not much of an issue. So consumers can really feel good about the quality of the product they're getting, but you have to wait for these temperatures to go down before you want to try oysters. So that's it, man. When I read this, that's it. I'm not eating oysters until fall. Maybe the end of... I'm going to watch the temperatures, but damn, I was eating those oysters right when this was at its peak. I'm like, I'm glad I got out of that one safely. The seafood restaurant told me that they only had one oyster they were offering. They usually have a medley. That must have been the reason. But this oyster came from Washington State. I was like, boy, I was lucky, you know.
You were lucky for sure.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't feel any side effects.
As your lips begin to numb and your face droops.
Yeah, so just be careful out there. That's too bad. I really love oysters. But another example of climate change affecting food sources, which brings me to salmon. And this is pretty serious. I mean, there's a lot of problems going on right now with drought, rivers low, trout are in Montana are dying, and they're worried about some of them going extinct. And also baby salmon are dying by the thousands in one of California's rivers, and an entire run of endangered salmon could be wiped out in another river. Fishermen who make their living on adult salmon once they either enter from the Pacific Ocean are sounding the alarm as blistering heat waves and extended drought in the U.S. raises the water temperatures and imperils the fish from Idaho to California. This is really bad stuff. You know, there was that the suckerfish, right, in the Klamath Falls River and Lake region there that that they said could go extinct, which I'm going to follow up with a live broadcast down there. I'm planning on getting out down there in August to interview and see visually, and it will be on the show. We'll have video for the live stream. I want to know. I have a feeling this fish is going to go extinct this summer, in the suckerfish. And now we're talking about salmon species being wiped out. Officials say the Sacramento River is facing a, quote, near complete loss of young Chinook salmon due to abnormally warm water. A crash in 1 year's class of young salmon can have lasting effects on the total population and shorten or stop the fishing season, and could be devastating to the commercial salmon fishery, which in California is worth at least $1.4 billion, which I didn't know it was that significant a fishery. King salmon, the creme de la creme of salmon. I caught one in the Rogue River. It was the highlight of my fishing career.
This mighty Chinook.
Down in South Coast Gold Beach, Oregon. Beautiful fish.
That's where you caught it?
Yeah.
All those years in Alaska, and that's where you caught it?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I never went for the king in Alaska. I always went for the sockeye and coho.
Oh, those are the best. But I caught a white king one time near the Taku River and it freaked me out.
The reason I never went for king in Alaska is I could fish for like the $10 license that I had to fish for salmon, for sockeye and coho. But to get the king, you really need a guide. I didn't trust myself. I had a guide in the Rogue River. He took me out and, I got it. So the winter run of Chinook salmon are born in the Sacramento River, traverse hundreds of miles to the Pacific, where they normally spend 3 years before returning to their birthplace to mate and lay their eggs between April and August. Unlike the fall run Chinook that survives almost entirely due to hatchery breeding programs, the winter run is still largely reared in the wild. So the federal fisheries officials predicted in May that more than 80% of baby salmon could die because of warmer water in the Sacramento River. That's too bad. And that's happening in rivers all over. And I'm going to have a representative of the Pacific Rivers Organization. I don't have the title, but he'll be joining me Friday for an interview. Hopefully he's in studio talking about the rivers of Oregon, how they're trying to keep them wild, and what's going on with the drought and its impact on fish. That'll be Friday. Don't have the gentleman's name in front of me right now, but he will be joining me. And I like to follow the environmental issues because, here we go, I got his name here. Gregory Holler will be joining me. And he's part of the Rivers Initiative here. They were working with Senator Wyden on Pacific Rivers is what he represents, the executive director. Senator Wyden here in Oregon, working with them on preserving the wild rivers of Oregon. Tried to get Senator Wyden on, he blew me off. Gave me an excuse he couldn't come on. And I said, well, if he can't come on this week, how about next week? I never heard back. So, but thankfully, Greg is being cooperative, and
there you go.
He's the guy who's really in charge of initiating these wild river protection programs. All righty, so we covered some Olympics. We covered the salmon and oysters. I don't think I can give you much more in today's show. That's it for today's Citizen Smith. I will talk to you tomorrow. I want you to enjoy your day. Watch the Olympics, and we'll talk about that more tomorrow as well on Olympic Watch on Citizen Smith.
TalkCast PDX app today. Available at Google Play or the Apple App Store. Go to TalkCastPDX.com for a direct link.